Well, hello everybody. Welcome to a not as late as last time edition of the Missing Wolves post game podcast live stream thing. I'm Andrew Dukowitz from Zone Coverage. We report on the Timberwolves, and today we have Wilder Adams, one host of the Wilder Adams Wolves podcast, right? Oh, Wilder, your mic is not working, so I'm going to just keep rambling. Oh, there you are. Now we got you.
Okay.
Wilder Wolves. That's the actual name of it, if I'm not going to be snarky. But Wilder, how's it going, man? I think the last time we were doing this, it was like 2:15 in the morning after a Thunder game.
My guy, I appreciate you for correcting me on the audio right there. I'll do the same for you, my friend. So it's not connected to your mic right now all of a sudden as well. Just,
oh, lovely.
Make sure we're straight right away.
Well, we will keep on keeping. All right, Wilder. Now let's get down to pre-podcast banter. This is all staying in because pre-podcast banter needs to happen. Wilder Adams from Wilder Wolves. How's it going, man?
My man, it's all good. Things are fluid, dude. Thank you for having me on, man. We got a big win today against Miami, so life's good. Life's good. The team, after a couple of weird games against the Atlanta Hawks and what we've seen recently with the Nets, I mean, putting together a few really good wins. Life's good.
Yeah, and Wilder, you're pinch hitting tonight. Kyle Teige was going to be joining me, but he has a puppy now and is in full dog dad. So he was like, I can't do it. Dog dad requires. So Wilder, you were next up on the list. So I'm glad you could make it work. And yeah, weird stretchy games for the Wolves, especially like on the road. I don't know how much I even to this point like put into those weird losses, because I just think that's just the NBA nowadays. But I guess we'll kind of start with that Atlanta game. Just, looking back on it now that they've won 3 in a row, 2 pretty convincingly. Even that first Miami game was a pretty decent sized win. Like, what is your opinion of that Atlanta game now that we're kind of on the other side of it and vibes seem to be good?
I would say in the grand scheme, we've seen this team do this so many times where you'll have that really random, just really ugly loss in January and the sky's falling and I join right in on it. And I'm like, who's trading next and everything that happens. But it's just, this team has an ability where when they face adversity in the regular season, they always bounce back. We've seen that with, the last couple of years. They very rarely lost 2 games in a row the past couple of years, but also just being able to recover after losing in a miscellaneous fashion. That's what this team is doing. It feels like they find their greatest momentum when there's adversity. It's almost like they kind of need a thrill to get their best. Honestly, not only just in wins, but also in little plays, right? This team, they get a lot of energy from blocks, from high pressure moments, from losing to the Hawks. It's kind of in this team, but honestly, there's nothing to be worried about in regard to that game, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was hard for me to get too worked up about it, just to be honest, because like it is, how this Wolves team has been for the last 2 years, but also like the Nuggets are losing. The Spurs lost again tonight to the Grizzlies. The Pistons lost 3 in a row to like subpar teams. The Magic lost to the Wizards tonight, who we beat, and the Wizards somehow have won 4 games out of their last 5. Like, I think it's just like the modern NBA. There's just not a lot of, I don't want to say like there's not a lot of care for the regular season, because I do think a lot of these players do care, but like everyone on the Wolves is taken care of. Like no one's playing for a contract. No one's playing for like, a roster spot per se or anything like that. So I think you just get these nights where they just are flat, and it's something they all kind of acknowledge. I don't know if that makes it more frustrating for fans or if it makes it less frustrating for fans that they're like self-aware that they have these moments, but then they can turn it on, which I think is what you're talking about of, when they need to win, they can just flip that switch and they're great. I mean, tonight, Miami's at full strength tonight, other than Hawkes, and this is a playoff team in the East that the Wolves just beat 2 times in 3 games and looked dominant over a pretty good team. So I do agree with you that they have this switch. It's just on the low points, it's really hard for me to really get too worked up about it because it's just like, unfortunately, every good team has these just head scratching losses that are mind numbingly annoying.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think that's a really important context with this team because it hurts a little more with this team because they have a history of doing it. But when you look at
Mhm.
this season, it's been a rarity. And I think with this game against the Miami Heat, and honestly, the last few games, I think what's been really special isn't just that they are fantastic, they're imposing, they're physically imposing. Because sometimes when this team plays up, I'm always like, okay, why does Rudy have 6 rebounds or why are we getting out rebounded? It always feels like there's a possession battle issue when the squad plays up in competition or just plays a playoff team. And they play a team in Miami that's not a great team, pretty good, solid team, but they're not a team that's going to just not try, right? It's Heat culture
Yep.
down there. So they're going to come and bring it, and they did bring it, but Minnesota heavily out rebounded them. I think they had over 55 rebounds. Outside the first quarter, they were pretty efficient with the ball. They were just mature, they were physical, they were deliberate, and that's why you get a huge win, and that's why we feel good.
Yeah, I mean 64 rebounds to 50. They outshot the Heat. They did kind of everything. I also forgot to mention the Thunder lost to Charlotte. So like just to like add another one in there. Like the NBA
They've been
just
losing lately, man. I mean, they're 6-6 their last 12. I mean, now maybe OKC second behind Minnesota.
I mean, I look at that and this is just I don't know anybody that reports for Oklahoma City. I don't have any connections down there, but like I look at it as like they lost those 2 to the Spurs and they lost to the Wolves, and I think they realized that the regular season record is no longer in reach. So
Mhm.
now they're just kind of like every other team, every other good team in the league where they're just like, do we really want to get up and play Charlotte today? Like, no. And then they just lose to Charlotte because there's competent basketball players that play for the Hornets. Um, Cole just adds, great win. Excited for Johan. Teresa agrees with you that they're imposing. I mean, part of the storyline this season, I feel like, has just been Rudy Gobert. Like, he's been phenomenal. Another great night for him tonight. Like, I'll just throw it over to you. Like, how impressive has Rudy been really all year?
Il est le meilleur centre au monde, j'adore Rudy Gobert. I mean, dude, I love what Rudy Gobert's doing right now, and he's looking like this is I don't want to overreact, and it's really hard not to compare it to, 23, 24. But this is
Mm-hmm.
about as good as I've seen Rudy Gobert after I thought the first 10 games were kind of shaky, kind of 10, 15 games, not like shaky and like he was like bad, but it wasn't Rudy Gobert, peak Rudy Gobert. And like whatever happened in December, just things have flipped, and he's looked like the best defender in basketball. Some nights, even with Anthony Edwards, the most valuable player on the team. And that's not even like a shot at Ant. That's just how great Rudy Gobert is. And you see a dude like Bam Adebayo, man, and two very different players in this way. Social media likes Bam Adebayo. Social media doesn't like Rudy Gobert, right? So you'll
Mm-hmm.
get the highlights of Bam Adebayo crossing up Rudy Gobert and the "he can't effing guard me" quote. And then Rudy Gobert, you know what he's going to do, man? Play him one time on Saturday, get more points, beat him, and then play him again and do the exact same thing, doing Rudy Gobert things. It's not loud, it's disciplined. He's boxing out, he's blocking everything lately. He's all over the place, just being Rudy Gobert and outplaying one of the better centers in the league just by being Rudy Gobert. So Minnesota, man, they get this Rudy Gobert. You have an offensive superpower in Ant, offensive superpower in Rudy, and they're a backbone of why they're a top 10 offense and defense. I mean, Rudy's awesome.
Yeah, he's been great. I think you mentioned like the online popularity, like Chet Holmgren is leading like the defensive POY, like defensive player of the year. I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't need throwing acronyms. I'm not at my day job, but like defensive player of the year, like Chet Holmgren's leading the Vegas odds for it, and it's like Rudy has been better than Chet almost across the board individually, and Rudy's on-off numbers are like just incredible. Like the Wolves are no longer the worst defense in the league when Rudy isn't on the floor, but like they're still a bottom 10 defense. Like, and when Rudy just exists, they're in the top 5. Like that is a huge swing from just one player. Like he arguably could get a 5th defensive player of the year if Wemby doesn't have enough games under his belt, which no one's ever done that before. So technically Rudy would be the best defensive player in NBA history, which is kind of wild, don't you think?
The funniest thing is he should at this point in time because, I mean, Wemby's had injuries throughout the year. I don't know if he's on track to play 65 games, but even if they're both healthy, Rudy Gobert's defensive plus minus is ridiculous. What he's doing around the rim, ridiculous. The way he's just controlling the basketball game, sorry, my notifications are popping, but I'm not sure if there's anybody in the league right now who's as grounded and controlled defensively as Rudy. Not even Wemby. Wemby is a great individual defender right now, but the way Rudy Gobert is like a gravitational pull with the way a team defends, it's unbelievable. And Wemby, you're gonna have a lot of defensive players in your career as well. You'll probably get 7. You'll probably break Rudy Gobert. Like they should just call the defensive player of the year the French DPOI. Just put France in it because they'll be taking over all the DPOIs. But I don't think anybody's close to Rudy Gobert right now.
Yeah, I mean it's and again, like he's doing this in his mid 30s. Like I think everyone was kind of expecting a drop off just because 7+ footer entering his mid 30s is historically not a great thing for a player's career, but he is putting together. I mean, it's hard to argue that this season is like better than his Utah defensive player of the years because like just looking at them, like defensive ratings in the like 98.3 100.9, like that's just a completely different like sport almost from 8 years ago to now. But like I would argue this is his best season in the Timberwolves so far, and that's just talking about the defense. Offensively, he's been great as well. I do want to touch on a couple other players from tonight though. Just I felt like Jaden had a really Jaden McDaniels-y game where he doesn't score until about 2 minutes left in the first quarter, kind of in and out of the offense. And then the third quarter, they run like 6 consecutive plays for him. And it looks like the most surefire offense out there. I mean, what have your thoughts been on Jaden tonight and just overall as well?
I just think the team's better when Jaden's aggressive. These last few games, it's been kind of a weird dip in just volume. And it's been like 4 shots, 5 shots. And I don't really care how often you're winning. I think for the long-term stretch of this Timberwolves team, if Jaden McDaniels isn't getting 11, 12 shots a game, it's not the same impact of what he's capable of. It's not the same dynamic of what he's capable of. And today he had the great balance where he was also defending great as usual, but he's also all over offensively, not in a way that gets in the way of what Ant can do, what Randall can do, or Nas early in the game. But when Jaden McDaniels can give you an efficient 19 points, man, and it doesn't get in the way of anybody, 11 shots is not going to get in the way of other people. Like for crying out loud, right? This team, we don't really have one reliable bench scorer right now. So considering that, if they can get this version of Jaden, like the one they had early in the year, makes them that much harder to beat.
Yeah, it's just weird because I feel like Jaden, there's times where he almost just like realizes they're guarding him with Tyler Hero. And it's like, there is no chance Tyler Hero can stop Jaden McDaniels. Like Jaden's has 8 inches on him and like actually has an offensive bag. And then you see that like almost like the cogs moving in his head. And then he's like, oh, and then goes and like calls for the ball. But honestly, like Finch has said for the last couple of years now that like the barometer of the offense is if Jaden gets 10 shots or not. So it's such a bizarre thing to have like arguably your like 3rd or 4th best player not really want to shoot or play offense. I mean, what do you kind of make of that?
I wish I had an answer for that because on one hand, at some point, Jaden should be like, look, man, I'm 6'11, I'm skilled, I'm athletic, I'm balanced, I have all of it. Another question is also, I think it's so easy for the fan base to be like, oh, it's Fitch's fault, it's Fitch's fault, it's Fitch's fault. There's probably a little bit of both of like, oh, wait, we should probably run a couple looks for Jaden, but also Jaden, let's try to find a way to be active because I think even tonight you saw moments where he could still float around once in a while. Like he won't box out and intentionally get the ball off the glass or run in motion offensively. He just kind of parks a little bit. There's some old tendencies, I think, especially lately, that have been running there. I just think it's a two-way thing where I think, of course, Finch, you should maybe once in a while just say, you know what, we got to create a shot for him or make a play that runs through him that gives him, a 60% chance of getting a good shot. And also, like Jaden, man, you got to find a way to create offense without being asked to. So I think it's kind of a two-way thing. Like if Jaden got 7 rebounds a game, bro, I think that makes a big difference too. There's still that rebounding stuff, just finding ways to get the basketball in your hands and create your own opportunities.
Yeah, it's just Jaden is just such an interesting like person because like he is so skilled. Like he's shown this season that he can be a really good playmaker. He has a really good connection with Rudy. He's like able to run an offense through him. But it's almost like you have to force him to do it. And it's like
Yeah.
you got to figure at some point, whether it's like maybe not this year, but like next year or in the future, Jaden just has that like light switch moment where he's like, oh, I'm actually like really good offensively at basketball. And if I
Mm-hmm.
miss my first shot, it's okay. I can keep doing this stuff. Because it's weird talking to like the guys around the team because they're all just kind of like, yeah, we want Jaden to do this. Like no one is telling Jaden not to. But I mean, I guess that's a good problem to have in your, ancillary piece that he understands his role. But catching up on chat a little bit, Mini Sports adds that Rudy's consistent baseline has been awesome. Then when he has an A+ game, they're pretty much unbeatable. Completely agree. Like that's the charm of Rudy Gobert against a throwaway game against the Wizards. He's going to bring the effort and energy. And then against Miami tonight, he'll have an A+ game and they just don't really compete very much.
Yeah.
Iceberg adds Wolves played beautiful basketball tonight. Mini sports fan Jaden brought heat. Cole adds Rudy's on a heater, and Phil, one of the hosts of Minnesota Please Understand, dropping in the chat here. He was at, I think he said it was his son's first basketball game tonight. So shout out to that. Got to meet Mike Conley, like the greatest like human being on the planet. So
Ever. Yeah.
glad you got to see a win too. Pack mentality adds Jaden is so nonchalant. Yeah, like even tonight I asked him after the game of like, you've been dunking on people a ton more. Like, has that been a like focus of yours? And he's just kind of like, I'd rather lay it up, but like I guess I'm just doing what I think I'm doing. It's like, okay.
Mhm. That's awesome.
Thanks,
I
Jaden.
like the comment. So responding to a couple of the Rudy Gobert comments, is
Mhm.
there a more conditioned big in the last 10, 15 years than Rudy Gobert? He might be the most well-conditioned big I have seen in forever. Like he and Nikola Jokic, in terms of pure conditioning, are just different beasts from the rest of the pack because, I mean, probably better than Jokic because Rudy's built like a Greek god. Like the dude's in unbelievable shape and he's able to withstand so much physicality, so much cheap shots, and still at this point of his career, still be one of the most well in shape bigs in the league, which is why he's near his mid 30s now. And he's playing maybe the best he's played in a Timberwolves uniform. And it makes me wonder because we always talk about Rudy Gobert and almost like the Max Kellerman Cliff theory, like when is everything going to fall apart and they need a new center? Part of me is like, I think he's got a couple more really good years in him, which is rare for a guy of his archetype. But Rudy Gobert, he's a different athlete, different athlete.
Yeah, I mean it at some point it will happen, but there is this like lineage of players that do play and are effective like into their late 30s that are centers. Like, you know, let's be honest, like Tyson Chandler comes to mind. He was playing until 36, 37, still effective with Dallas and New York. DeAndre Jordan, I know he's not like a big player anymore on teams, but is still like a role guy. Like I think Rudy could get a couple more years out, but like at this point it's almost like a wait and see thing of like
Yeah.
you kind of have to keep bringing him back and see if he still has the juice. And especially like this year, he didn't play overseas in the summer. And I think that is a big reason why he just has this kind of extra level of juice this season. Phil saw a tweet that said, "I base people's basketball knowledge on their opinion of Rudy." Fair. I feel pretty similar with like Rudy and Mike. I can kind of figure out of like how much someone's watching and kind of what their opinions are based off of what they say about those two. King Taylor, who does Bam think he is? Asia Wilson. He could never. Asia not in the house. Apparently too cold and windy in Minnesota for her to grace us up here. Wilder, I'm going to throw us over to a quick break. And then when we come back, I do want to touch on, I mean, it's a month until the trade deadline. We should probably talk a little bit about that. And Johan also got minutes, so I want to touch on that. But first, ad reads. And before I even start it, Firehawk Construction is still getting its old ad read, but they do have a new number. So you are going to get the correct phone number after this is done. Well, hello. Thank you, Livestream Andrew. This is Ad Read Andrew. And today we have Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, the presenting sponsor for the Missing Links podcast. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling strives to inspire people to follow their ideas, working with respect and understanding to create a quality, tailored result. Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, located in Blaine and serving in the North Metro area, is here to help you with your building and remodeling needs. I can say personally, thanks to Firehawk Construction and Remodeling, I have a beautiful deck in my backyard and countless projects that I started, they finished. Get started on your new deck or remodel today by calling Isaac at 763-710-5686. Okay, ignore that last phone number. It is call Isaac at 651-315-4291. You can also text him now, and they have a Facebook that will allow you to submit your ideas, and then he will tell you if it's possible, physically, metaphorically, and financially, and can give you quotes on them as well. So any construction needs that you might have, Firehawk can't recommend them enough. But we have one more ad, and we're back with another ad read. This time for Pence Homes, the presenting sponsor of Hitting the Hardwood Network. From the best tools and technology to transparency throughout the entire process, Nate Pence and the Pence Homes team is the top choice for buyers, sellers, and is proud to support you and your home ownership goals. Get started today by calling 612-308-1122 or by emailing info@pencehomes.com. Everything, just my incompetence tonight. pencehomes.com. Shout out Nate Pence. So Wilder, I do want to, let's touch on the Johan side of it first, because I don't live nearly as deep into Wolves Twitter as you do, but I am in Wolves Twitter, and a lot of people are calling for Johan minutes. Just what was your impression of his minutes tonight? Because he did get a pretty good run at the end of the game.
Yes, and I definitely am somebody who is deep and buried in Johan Beringer Twitter agendas. So I think I'm the right person for this conversation. But like, I am just really excited to see where Johan is, because I don't know where his development is right now, because we just haven't seen him. And he's one of those interesting guys because he's played basketball for a few years. And with players like that, especially as gifted as he is and as intense as he is, and you know that through summer league, those type of players, they can develop really quickly with good mentorship. And this team is uniquely positioned to do that for him. And every time I watch him, even the other day, he had 14 points, 13 boards, 7 stocks in the G League. Just, he's been really effective down there. And he's just an opposing force, rebounding a lot more lately in the G League. And for me, that's kind of the difference between he playing and not playing, because he's not a great rebounder yet. Not because he doesn't try, but because he still gets trigger happy, wants to block everything, gets out of position a lot. And he saw a little bit of that today, but I do think you saw more of those flashes of how he can be just such an intense force on both sides of the floor. Of course, defensively, he's going to just add a gravity with his rim protection and some of his athleticism. But then offensively, you're getting a great play finisher with touch, somebody who plays with an excellent motor. I mean, you look at this team right now and it's like, okay, at the deadline, right, 1 month from now, can you get a guard or can you get a backup big? Really hard to imagine both. But if there's a world where it's like, hey, Beringer, he's getting close, where he can play 12 minutes every game or two, and then you find some sort of solution at guard, that feels like a really convenient solution and that's feasible. If Beringer could be part of the solution at 19 years old, that makes a big difference. So I'm just really optimistic and hopeful for where he is.
Yeah, I mean, I asked Finch about it after the game of just, how valuable are these minutes when you're getting to see guys that, like, let's be honest, Finch isn't having like a sit down conversation with Baron J every other day. Like it's just
Yeah.
it's Kevin Hansen's problem to deal with, Coach Kev. But like, I want to get his quote here right, because Finch goes, every minute for a guy like Johan is valuable. What he's doing in the G League right now is super exciting to have him come up here in short minutes that he gets and make an impact. That's what you want. He's doing his homework and he's getting good grades, which, like, Finch doesn't like throw around compliments very often,
No.
especially without something for that player to work on. So I just thought it was notable. I mean, as far as like his play, it's you know, it, you're right. He does jump at everything. He doesn't have a very disciplined, like, stay down and just contest with your arms. I think he gets out of position quite a bit just because he hasn't played, years and years and years of basketball like some of these other 19-year-old rookies. I'll just be honest, like, I don't know if he'll be ready this year. Like, it's already January to slide him in, get him comfortable with the rest of the starters and role players. Like, that's just a lot to ask of a 19-year-old kid. But next year, like, at this point, I think next year he's going to get a shot, like, for sure. Um, I mean, the other guy that at least on paper had a good night tonight was Rob in those 4 minutes, 3 assists.
Mhm.
Arguably should have had another one that Johnny Juzang clanged, but he's kind of another guy where it's like it might just not be Rob's year. What have your thoughts been on Rob?
Ooh, that's no. I said I was right for the Beringer convo. I'm not sure if I'm right for the Rob one, but look, Rob Dillingham. I think my concerns about his impact in passing lanes and as a passer aren't that high. I just worry so much about the scoring now. And I wasn't there early in the year. I just thought, you know what? It's going to find its own balance. It'll figure itself out. But even in those 4 minutes, I saw 2 missed layups. And Rob Dillingham, the shot making isn't reliable. The shooting around the rim isn't reliable right now. So I worry about him. And you talked about like Beringer, like Chris Fitch has been very open about Beringer compliments. I probably can count on one hand, maybe, about how many times I've heard like, whoa, Rob is fantastic in this. So I'm not sure if the team feels as good about Rob as they do a Beringer right now. So I'm not very optimistic on it. I wouldn't even say I'm lukewarm on it. I just pray it works because similarly, if Rob Dillingham was on a really high level path, for an 8th overall pick, I think our excitement would be through the roof right now on the long term trajectory of the squad. But right now, until I see some consistency around the rim and the jump shot and some of the weird like non benchings and etc., because I don't expect him to be in the rotation going forward unless
Yeah.
another injury happens. I just I have a lot of questions with what's going on there.
Well, and it seems like the rotation's kind of set now where
Mm.
Jalen Clark and Bones are both going to get kind of that eighth, ninth man kind of spot. Like Nas and Michael check in together, and then Bones and Jalen will get the other side, and whichever one of them is playing better is just going to get the rest of the minutes. I don't think I'm kind of with you. I don't know what good it would be to just throw Rob out there now when he is struggling like this. Like, if it is a confidence thing, it just doesn't make sense to have someone as young as him try and like play through it while a team is trying to set up playoff seating. Like,
Yeah.
if he played for the Kings, sure, throw him out there, but like it just does not make sense. That's kind of my feeling with Johan too. Like many sports fan, if they can get Johan ready for 8 to 12 minutes come playoff time, like at this point, it's like if he's still having an issue fouling, if he's still having an issue getting into position, like does it make sense to just have him go out there and get like 4 fouls in 6 minutes and kind of ruin his confidence? Like, who knows?
I feel
That
like
I'm glad I don't have to make those decisions.
but I feel like with the Beringer thing, even last year, let's like talk about the Rob thing because Rob, when the team was a little injured, got that shot last year, right?
Hmm.
And I think this year, of course, you want Randall and Nas to be healthy all year. And I'm not saying like, that has to happen for Beringer to get it in. I'm not fully saying that. But what I am saying is I think it would be really nice to see during January basketball or February basketball when you're just getting a Wednesday night against the Sacramento Kings. Let's just see what Beringer looks like for 11 minutes, right? Have a night where Mike Conley rests and you get funky with the minutes for a little bit and give those minutes to Beringer and figure out guard later. I don't know. Like let's just get a little funky with it. It's January, it's February, right? I mean, if there's a time to do it, it's right now. So I would love to just see where he is in those circumstances. I trust they're watching and they're probably getting evaluations throughout the practices and
Hmm.
continuing to get status on him with Coach Hansen, etc. But I do think it'd be really cool to see, at least in a couple given circumstances, let's just get 12 minutes out of him on a third quarter, just see what happens. Like, why not? Why not?
I do think you hit the nail on the head. Like this team has been remarkably healthy in the post so far. Like I would be very surprised if Rudy, Nas, and Julius all play 70 plus games this year. Like it's just not like that just doesn't happen. So like I do think Johan will get like an injury chance at some point to just see what he is. Um let's talk a little trades though, because I haven't really talked to you a whole lot since the last time you came on after the Thunder. And I think it's a similar vibe where we're pretty confident about the team right now and feeling pretty good. But like
Yeah.
what are your kind of like hierarchy of needs for this team? Because I mean, listeners of the show know like I'm pretty in the big get you a backup big, like get you a Brooke Lopez or get Kelly Olynyk on a buyout or just get someone like capable that can play like those 7 minutes if Rudy gets in foul trouble. But where are you at?
So we're not going to do the Trae Young thing, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Like I would be cat level trade stunned if they did that.
I would
Like that is where I would be.
Yeah, I would too, by the way, just mid show. If you guys want to hear all the speculation with the team, realistic, not realistic, you want to hear Trae Young talk? Check out Loud the Wolves. We'll do that. We did that today, actually, where we talked about the idea. But yeah, I think with this team right now, small or very big like that, it's another guard. It's a backup big. It depends on what you find more valuable. I'm on the side. I think this team needs a guard. I just think at the end of the year, when it comes to the playoffs, you want 7 to 8 guys that you can reliably play in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Or I would say eight's the right number. Some people want a 7-man rotation, some want an 8, but that's like banking your entire team's healthy. So
Yeah.
I think you play safe a
I
little
agree
bit.
with you. The 8 rotation is kind of where it's at. Like 7 main guys and then like a 10-minute dude.
No, exactly. So I think when you think about it in that lens, just expecting chaos with how the NBA works, I just think it would be a little bit, I'll say a little bit overly confident, slightly irresponsible if you're putting all your chips in the Bones Highland and Mike Conley basket when this team clearly wants to win a championship. That's just where I'm at with it. Love Mike. Really like Bones, but we saw what happened last year. The biggest issue against Oklahoma City was they had all these guys they can throw at the ball handlers on Minnesota, and Minnesota can do a darn thing about it. Minnesota, they need to find, I think, one creator. And I'm not sure, frankly, what's realistic, what's not, because they are a first apron team and they have to kind of get back as much as they give out financially. And there's a lot of contracts that I'm not sure everybody be comfortable trading right now. So I'm not exactly sure what the answer is, but I think in my peak world, it's 4 a.m. I'm having the best dream of my life. I think that dream would have a real point guard who adds another ball handler and a reliable decision maker that takes a little bit of pressure off of Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle. So when the playoffs come, I feel a little better about when Oklahoma City throws Alice Caruso or Casey Wallace on Ant, and then it's like figure it out. I just think that's more important than the backup big because Rudy Gobert will play 36 minutes a game in the playoffs, and you just have to withstand 12 minutes of Randall or Nas or Burring J saves my life, and I'm part of. I'm hoping for an off chance of that. So I think point guard's the definite need.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I like again, you figure that 8-person rotation, right? And you got your starting 5, you have Nas is obviously in there, and then 7, 8, and 8 are kind of question marks right now. Like, I'll be honest, like I still think Mike Conley come playoffs is in there as that 7 guy playing 20 minutes a night. He just does too many important things. Like, yes, he gets beat defensively. He got beat defensively tonight, but he like funnels them the correct way so that like Rudy can get in there for a contest, or Dante can poke his hand in, or Ant can poke his hand in. Like on offense, 3-point shooting has been tough. His floater has failed him. Like, he's not initiating offense in the same way. Like, he's kind of just being relegated to a corner 3 guy. But then you see tonight, like the last 3 minutes of the third quarter, where they go Mike, Jalen, Dante, Julius, Nas, and Mike is the point guard again, and he's setting up everybody on the table. He's spreading the ball around. Like, I do think part of his struggles this season is just trying to get him to the finish line of like, let's just get this dude into the playoffs healthy where he can expend all of his calories instead of having to rely on him so much now. That's risky though, because if that's not the case, then you just have like a 36% 3-point shooter that like defends smartly but can't really man to man anyone anymore and isn't hitting shots. So like that's certainly a risk. But I'm just a little higher on Mike being able to kind of turn it on when it matters. And I'm also just a little lower on like Rudy in the playoffs. I think there's just going to be matchups where you look at this team and they need like that Brooke Lopez, Jock Landell, someone that can defend and is 7 foot plus, but also can spread the floor on offense and give a different look. But also, like you said, that they're both clear needs. Like Bones, I don't think is the fix. Like, I think he's come back down to earth a little bit. And then, like, you know, your preference is really just kind of Ghost, because I am from the Northland and am sitting in the bowels of Target Center and trying to be a little bit quieter. But like he said, I should be in Fargo. Anyways, but like I think it's just what you're more comfortable betting on. Like, if you feel like Rudy, Nas, Julius, and maybe Johan can at least get you enough, then it's like clearly point guard is where you have to go. If you have faith in Bones or Mike, then it's probably center is the way to go. But it's certainly a difficult spot because I agree with you. I don't think they can fill both of them.
You know, I think you nailed it on the coffin. I just would say I just am so scarred with what I saw in the playoffs and the conference finals with Mike. I'm just so scarred. He averaged 4 points a game, I believe, on 21.4% from the field. And
Yeah.
this season, with his efficiency, he's not giving me much more confidence that's going to change. So I just think if you're trying to win a championship right now, I just don't think that's a smart bet at all. It's like one of those, like, you'll probably lose $10, but there might be a world you make $1.50 type of thing. So that's just how I feel about the Mike thing. There's way more downside than upside at this point in time. I agree with you that you need somebody of that skill set who can calm people down, organize the game, just a real point guard at this point in time. You need that type of player if you want to win a championship. I just think Mike Conley's archetype is more valuable than what he's bringing at this point of his career. So if I could find somebody who can bring that responsibility more reliably at this point via another team, I think that's a more valuable get than Mike at this point.
Which is fair. It's, you know, mini sports fan, or not mini sports fans. Yeah, it was mini sports fans. There's your comment. Most available and affordable point guards probably include a trade with Dante, TJ, Rob for like Colby White as example. Losing Diva, it would be tough, but I think they do it. I'm a little bit on the opposite side of that. Like, I don't think they are shopping Dante. Like, that dude, like it's just, yes, there are nights where the shooting is tough. Like, I will be the first to admit it. Like, there's been games where he's 1 for 8 from three, 1 for 7, 0 for, but like he does so many other things that no one else on this team does. Like, he gets into defenders, he plays hard regardless of the circumstances. Like, he's just kind of fiery. And I think if they lose that, and it's for a guy that's not, that kind of gritty player, it just has the potential to kind of mess with the vibes a little too much. I honestly think, like, when we're looking at trades, we should be looking at like TJ plus Rob. What can that get you, like, salary wise, and start from there, which is, I mean, with the first apron, that's like $9 million contract. That's like nothing to, blow your nose at, but
Yeah.
it's something. But that's the kind of player where it's like ghost ads, like Chris Paul is available. Like, that's honestly the type of dude that's like probably going to be swirling around the Wolves, is like the Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul. I mentioned Brooke Lopez because we have no clue what the Clippers are doing, and he has a team option for next year. So maybe like they want to get off of him for a younger asset. I mean, really, the places that like I think Wolves fans should be looking at for trades are like, go to Basketball Reference, sort salaries for under $10 million, and then look at bad teams and see if there's anybody that you think their value would like recuperate on the Wolves. So like Tyus is having a really bad season in Orlando. Would he have a better season with a better situation in Minnesota? Like,
He's
dudes like
having
that, which isn't great.
Tyus is having kind of a fight with Rob Dillingham for lower field goal percentage right now for point guards. So that's kind of an interesting battle I've been watching all year. But Tim Connolly, I'll say this with Tim Connolly, you never know with this guy. You
Yep.
never know. Minnesota's in a really weird spot because this is the first time in franchise history where the players making a lot of money we all kind of like. And it's always like, what's going on with the Wiggins contract? Why is even Cat making a max? Or Gorgie Jang, what's up, bro? Like, it's always a contract. You're like, what in the world is going on there? And Tim Connolly's done a great job managing these contracts. And Dante, I love the guy. I love the guy. He would be such a hard player to lose if you're trying to go for a real player because he's a personality player. He probably leads the NBA in minutes on the floor this year. He's just always on the floor, and I love it. He probably leads the league in miles ran. The dude's awesome. So it would be hard to give him up, and I would try to hold on to him at all costs. I'm not going to be too much and just start saying that we're going to trade everybody beside Ant. It would not shock me if there's a name on the team that they trade and you're like, holy guacamole, they just traded him. There's just something about me that feels like something might happen. I've seen way too many reports, and I'm not a reporter. I'm going to make that very clear right now. So I don't want people to aggregate what I'm saying via Wilder. I don't want to get my reputation destroyed. But I will say this. There's been a lot of things about Minnesota wanting to get a starting point guard. A lot of reports about that. Minnesota being connected with basically any point guard with the pulse. And you look at the team, like you're saying, if you look at the team and you want to keep everybody, you're probably looking at Terrence Shannon, Rob Dillingham, contracts like that, Mike Conley, some stuff like that. But to get a good player, you have to give up one. So part of me is always wondering, like, is there a better chance a surprise name like a Nas Reed gets moved at the deadline for a bigger name and they figure out big in like a 3-team trade? I don't know. Tim Conley is a very creative, very smart guy. You can't rule anything out. So I would say, like, not to gaslight everybody, but definitely stay on your heels because you never know with Tim Connolly.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, no one expected the Rudy trade. No one expected the Cat trade. I mean, the D'Lo side of the D'Lo trade, I think people expected, but like the bringing back Mike Conley and the bringing Nikhil along with, like, I think getting that much back for it are pretty pretty unexpected. I think everyone kind of thought we would just get like a refill of Gatorade at the vending machine for D'Lo at that point. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at their like spot track right now, and there is kind of twofold to what you're saying. Like if you keep everybody, so the top like 6 all the way down to Naz Reid, and you trade for a guy that's should be playing 20 minutes, like that also just gets really weird. Like it, how are you going to find minutes for everybody? I think, you know, Mike, I think would be a guy that you could cut minutes down to 0 and it would probably go over well in the locker room. But like, can you just cut Bones after what he's kind of been? Can you just cut Jalen Clark's minutes to 0? Like, it's just weird.
Is it
And
even
then, yeah, you
possible?
look at the, hmm?
Is it even possible? Like keeping the top 6 guys and getting a 20-minute player with the money they're making?
I think it is. Like the Wolves do have, like, again, you look at like Rob, TJ, Jalen Clark, Leonard Miller, I don't think has a ton of trade value, but he makes 2 million. Like, I think you could patch together an offer to get to like 10 million. And then they have 3 second round picks this year, which like the Warriors a couple seasons ago just traded a garbage salary and 3 second round picks to bring Gary Payton Jr. back. So like, I do think they could make a move for like an expiring guy, but it's just like, do you want to give up all of those assets now when there might be something more appealing in the offseason? Which is like, I don't know. Like that's where it's like Tim Connolly and Matt Lloyd have a lot more work than I do, because I mean, I look at their roster and it's kind of like maybe you just wait until the buyout market and see who's there. Maybe you do something around the margins, bring in, you know, like a Tyus or someone like that you can just kick the tires on and you don't have to give up it too much.
Mhm.
CD says, you know, if Naz Reid goes, fans will riot, which, yeah, probably. I mean, you have it on your graduation cap. You would, that's almost sacrilege for you to say.
I know. I mean, if they traded for like Giannis, I might Photoshop that cap and turn it into Giannis. I'm not sure. I love Nas Reed. So I'm not, it's no disrespect. I've seen this team do some crazy stuff and I just will never fully rule anything out. Nice thing I like about Tim Connolly is even though he is somebody who's very open to making really big moves, he very rarely operates in a position of desperation. So he's not afraid to not make a move. So if there's nothing at the deadline that appeals to him, he's not going to make a crazy trade. He's just going to find an asset on the margins, as you're suggesting. So that's why it's really good to have good management and trust that they're having the best interest at heart. I don't want to like remind people of this. It's actually really bad timing because I'm giving Tim Connolly a lot of credit, but they probably could have kept Nikhil if they found a way to dump Rob and Mike's contract somehow. I He's still really good. He's still really good. So I don't know why I just said that. It just came out of my head, but you never know with Tim Connolly. You don't.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are things you can look at of like breadcrumbs. Mini sports fan just throws out here that ESPN suggested Scottie Pippen Jr. Like that's the caliber of guy that we're probably
I'm
looking
down
at.
for
Like
that. I'm down for it.
nothing that's gonna like shake the world, but something that might just help a little bit. And if it doesn't help, it's a low cost type of thing. I mean, I will say, like, you know, you've brought up Mike Conley a couple times. Like, Mike Conley and Joe Ingles are probably as close to no trade clause guys as humanly possible. Uh,
Oh shoot.
I'd be,
He has no trade clause, right? Mike does. Does
he
he?
doesn't, but
Oh,
like he signed here at a discount. His kids go to school here. He's so important for like the morale of this group that I think if you just like traded him for like Kobe White, that would be a way that they could lose the locker room pretty quick. And I don't know if it's worth risking that when you got guys like Ant, Jaden, Nas, who are theoretically going to be here for like another 5 years plus. Um, but there's just again, like Mike's different. It's kind of like the why am I blanking? It's kind of like the Udonis Haslam or like Nick Collison type of things, where it's just
yeah.
like, yeah, they make $8 million on the Thunder bench, but like you can't really do anything with it just because like there are these kind of handshake agreements, unspoken rules about like shipping a veteran halfway across the country to someplace he doesn't want to play.
Yeah.
But
I'll
yeah, it.
say this, like, I'm completely thinking from my 2K mode right now, so
Oh, exactly.
I'm thinking from my 2K mode, I'm already, like, constructing a Giannis mock trade as we're talking right now, but that's a really good idea, by the way, with the Scottie Pippen thing, because there's another strategy where it's, okay, let's look at the bad teams with a lot of point guards. So, like, Indiana or
Mhm.
Memphis, where it's like TJ McConnell was just kind of floating there, like, hey, what's up? I don't really care to play with AJ DeBonce the next year. Let's win basketball games. Or the Memphis, where you have Scottie Pippen Jr. or Ty Jerome, some guys like
Yep.
that are just kind of floating. Or Cleveland, Lonzo Ball, what's going on there? There's a lot of options that we're probably not even thinking about right now.
Exactly. Well, Wilder, I am getting up against it here before the Skyway closes, so I'm going to give you a chance. Anything you want to plug, anything you want to shout out, and then we'll get out of here.
No, just thank you so much for having me on. It's always an honor to be with you. I need to get you back on Wilder Wolves as soon as possible. And if you guys haven't heard of Wilder Wolves, it is my podcast. It's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It's a fan-oriented show where we do interviews, we do analysis, we just fan fodder, we do all of it. It's a fun time. Would so love for you guys to be a part of the community that we're growing right now. But most importantly, Andrew, you're the best. Thank you for having me on.
Course, man. And for everyone else, if you came into this late, we'll be posted as a podcast tomorrow morning, Wednesday. Gosh, we're on Wednesday already at 7 a.m. And if you can't wait until that long and you want to fall asleep to our Fargo voices, as Ghost says, it does get published as a podcast over on YouTube, and it lives on forever on X as soon as we hit the end. We will be back Thursday after the Cavs game, though. So until then, I don't know. Go Wolves. We'll give it a go Wolves.